Start a series for first-time cruisers and new cruisers. So the first thing you want to do is you want to start doing a little research. And you can do this in several ways. You can check out the internet, Google the different cruise lines, look on different cruise sites like Cruise Critic and Cruisely. They're two good websites that we use a lot for information. And then YouTube. We use YouTube a lot, especially when we're deciding on what cruises we want to take, depending on whether it's a particular ship or a particular itinerary. So do a little bit of that first, just to get an idea of what you might like and what you would not like. That'll help with questions that you may have when you call a travel agent. And this is a big tip. This is probably the second tip we're going to give. If you're new to cruising, definitely use a reputable travel agent. And we're talking about travel agents that have been in the industry for a long time, and even maybe a travel agency that specializes in cruising. They're going to be a wealth of knowledge, and they're going to help answer the questions that you're going to have, because you don't know what you don't know if you're a first-time cruiser, and they will have the answers for you.
Yeah, and you have to decide whether you're going to pick a itinerary or you're going to pick a ship, because these new ships are just by themselves a place that is unbelievable.
Right. A lot of the larger cruise lines, the ship is the destination and the itinerary may be secondary to the ship. So that's what you have to determine, and it's going to depend on the time of year you want to go, who is going with you, whether you're traveling with children or you're not traveling with children, if it's just a couple, if you're solo. So there's a lot of things to factor in, but that's where a travel agent will come in, and they will help you navigate that, and they'll answer all those questions. They will price out. Let's say you have two cruise lines in mind. They'll price out both cruise lines, and they'll help you determine what's best. They're going to know what sales are going on. They're going to know what perks each cruise line gives, because every cruise line is different in what they're going to offer you. Some will have tips included. Some will have drink packages included.
Wi-Fi as well.
Wi-Fi. So it depends, and that's where a travel agent's really going to help you. The travel agency that we use, and we can recommend them, this is not a sponsored video, this is just our opinion, and we've used them for years, and they book most of our cruises, is CrewCon. They have been in business for over 25 years. They specialize in cruising, so they can book any major cruise line out there, and they'll know if one cruise line is going to be better for an itinerary versus another. For example, we're going on a cruise to the Norwegian fjords next year, and originally when I called our travel agent, I wanted to book on Royal Caribbean. And when I was speaking with him, he said, well, wait a minute. Actually, Celebrity has a better value of what you're going to get for your dollar with the same itinerary. Would you be open to hearing about that? So when he helped me compare side by side the cost of each, it was actually better for us to do Celebrity. So that's why we recommend a reputable travel agent. And there have been some horror stories that we've found on the internet, and also with YouTube. We watch a lot of like cruise news, and there was a travel agent who, she was a sole proprietor. She booked a very, very large group cruise, and there was about 38 or 40 people that were scheduled to go on this cruise. Well, she did not pay the final payment to the cruise line. So the cruise line ended up canceling the cruise for those people. She paid it for herself because she was going on this cruise. She was already on the cruise, came off of the ship, talked to the group and said there was a miscommunication or a misunderstanding and she would get it straightened out, told the group not to worry, and here all along she had never paid the final payment. So there were 40 people stranded on the dock that never were able to enjoy their cruise, and it was thousands of dollars that these people lost, and that was just because they obviously used the wrong travel agent. So when we say definitely do research, use a reputable travel agent, that's what we mean.
Yes, and you are signing a contract with the cruise company, and in that contract that they can change your itinerary the same way with the hurricanes. We got our itinerary changed the day before on Vision. We were here at the house and got an email saying, oh, we're leaving the next morning, and all of a sudden we get an email change that we're going to be not going to Bermuda, we're going to Florida.
Yes, so that is in your contract. You need to know that. So flexibility is key. When you're booking a cruise, you need to know that that can happen, and it's going to be dependent on the time of year that you're cruising. If you're cruising during hurricane season, you're definitely going to be at a higher risk of having your itinerary changed. And we kind of just know that that is a factor, and we go with the flow. So just be aware of that. And sometimes you can even be on a cruise and a storm could come up and the captain needs to make a decision for the safety of the vessel, the safety of the passengers and the crew. He or she needs to make a decision on, rerouting the ship somewhere else to avoid a storm. So just understand that that can happen when you're on a cruise.
And the next big thing to do is travel insurance. If you don't have it and you have a medical condition or something happens to the cruise on the way down, how does travel insurance work, Karen?
Travel insurance is very important to have, and you can purchase it one of two ways. You can purchase it for a particular trip that you're going on, or you can purchase an annual policy. And what an annual policy does is it will cover any trips that you do within a 1-year period. It will cover trip cancellation, trip interruption, travel delays, lost luggage, medical coverage, medical evacuation, and sometimes there is coverage for rental car insurance. It'll cover a policy for rental cars. So what you need to do is you need to look at the policy to see what it covers and the dollar amount that it will cover. So we find that this is beneficial. It gives us peace of mind because when we're out of the United States, our health coverage does not work in a Caribbean country. So you have to pay that cost up front and then try and get it reimbursed through your insurance company when you get home. Some insurance companies will reimburse, some will not. It all depends on what your health coverage is. But with this travel insurance, you can submit those bills and then get reimbursed for those expenses. And then the evacuation from one country back home is usually covered. And that's usually a big, big expense. So we think it's well worth having travel insurance.
And what about payment-wise? When do you put a down payment down and then you can pay over time, or you just do a down payment and then?
So the way payments for a cruise work is you put your down payment down, and then before 90 days of the cruise leaving, you need to pay in full. So your cruise needs to be paid in full before that 90-day window opens up. You can pay on this monthly, weekly, however you want, if you don't want to be caught with the final payment. So if you're looking to pay cash, as you get paid, and you don't want to take thousands of dollars out of the bank in one fell swoop, you can do that to have the cruise paid off before the 90 days, or you can just wait until right before the 90 days, pay your final payment. And you'll get reminders once you've booked the cruise as that 90-day window is approaching. If you have a final payment that is due, you'll get emails from your travel agent, hey, this payment is due on such and such a date, and please call to make the final payment. Once you're within the 90-day window, then your refund for the cruise will vary depending on if you have to cancel the cruise or make any changes. So as you get closer to the cruise, you're not going to get as much money back. And if it's right before the cruise, you're probably going to lose the full amount. So that's where travel insurance comes in, because if you have to cancel the cruise because you have something going on at home and you can't take the trip now, that's where the travel insurance will come in and reimburse you for that cost of the cruise, because you're not going to get it back from the cruise line if it's very close to the sailing.
Yeah, but if you have any questions about cruising or anything we discussed here today, or just any kind of questions at all, leave it down below, and we're very good about getting back to people.
Please like and subscribe, share this video. We're a small channel. We're trying to grow. We want to bring a lot of great information to cruisers, and hopefully this will help anybody that's going to take their first cruise.
Cat and Mike, the ships that sail on a journey that'll never fail.